All right. Yes. So, um, yes. So this is my garage, half of it, and you are my friend, and you're an atheist, and
I'm Nathaniel's atheist friend, yes,
that's
indeed.
right. Yes. Do you want to introduce yourself?
I mean, yeah, I'm Nathaniel's atheist friend, Puppy Papa on Discord, if you want to find me. Um, when I'm getting something from the fridge. Yeah. I mean, that's basically it, right?
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, we've talked a lot. I seem to have your respect.
Mm-hmm.
I
And
like
I,
you. Let's see if we can keep the profanity down as best we can.
of course, I will try my best.
Because actually,
Um,
just so you know, the people that for sure listen to this are like super highbrow intellectual academics.
I I believe it. Like, now, how many people on average listen to one of your podcasts, Mr. Nathaniel?
Yeah, he's not. I mean, it's not many right now. I think right now it's like two or three when I post it.
Okay. Somebody, as long as someone's listening. Somebody's
Yeah.
listening.
Well, what's I mean, it's more complex than that because like that one fella showed the transcript there, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, part of it is like there's a certain amount of consistency to do. Part of it is it keeps me organized. Um, I mean, I do wish more people listen to it, but I also think that like one thing I've been dealing with for a long time is everyone kind of has different mediums that they
Yeah.
will engage with, and and long form podcasts are always my favorite. That's what I
I
like.
mean, yeah, I mean that's how a lot of people love Joe Rogan for that
Right,
very reason. Yeah.
right. So it
Mhm.
feels like one I should do, and it's one
Well,
I
let me
did
ask,
before. Yeah.
what is this website? I've never. What is this? What are we on
Oh,
right now?
yeah. So this is Core 1312, which I think is a Bible verse. I couldn't tell you which one, but it's made by a good Catholic man,
Hmm.
and I know him and his children. He doesn't like me that much, and it's okay.
Oh, why
we have
not?
we have disagreements. The Catholics are they're really tough to get along with.
Mhm.
We had a disagreement one time. He said he grew up in a hippie commune, and
Yeah.
I did not. I grew up in suburbia, and
You told me how you grew up. Yeah.
did I?
I think so. Yeah, you said there was some alcohol involved in. I think it might not have been you, but you were in a black neighborhood, right?
Right. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. It
I've
was
got
you.
a
Okay.
yeah. I've got a pretty eclectic background.
Hmm.
I moved 14 times before I graduated from high school. So one of those
Damn.
places is Syracuse, New York, which is actually Auburn, New York, which is near Syracuse. But we went to Syracuse all the time. But it's basically like I was there when my mother was in the hospital, and I was in Little Italy, and I was pretty close to getting mugged. I realized this was a dangerous place. I hadn't been there since I was a child.
Where you grew up? You're from New York.
So, I mean, I don't consider myself from New York, honestly. Like I said, 14 times. I lived in New York for 3 years. I lived in Auburn, and I lived in Oswego, New York. And those two places are really different too. But where
Hmm.
did you grow up?
No, Mr. Puppy Papa is a private man, and there's really weird people on the internet,
Sure.
especially on Discord. So
Yeah.
Mr. Puppy Papa is gonna plead the fifth on that one.
Okay.
But I'm
All right.
American. I'm American. That's all you need. I'm an East Coast American person.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Okay.
yeah,
I thought you
I'm
were
West
West
Coast.
Coast for some reason.
No, I'm East Coast. Yeah.
Okay.
By
I,
the way, what
I,
do you? Yeah, go on.
I finished high school in Washington State.
Damn, you really moved around, Nathaniel. What were you guys? What were you running from? What was going on?
Um, I mean, I'm 29. I remember that my parents were both engineers, and my dad's still an engineer. And um, I was born in New Hampshire, but they met in Los Angeles at college. I was the fifth child, and
Mm-hmm.
my mother's from New England, um, but they divorced, fortunately, and so that's kind of when the moving started happening. And it was basically all for opportunity because, my dad had child support to pay. He had just gotten through cancer, and 2008 hit around that time, and so that's how he ended up on the West Coast. But he loves it. They're all on the West Coast now. They're all. Well, some
Yeah, the
people.
West Coast looks nice. I was only there once. I was in Seattle, and I saw drug addicts just doing drugs in the open. It was the only place I saw drug addicts that had balls like that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it.
You don't like it? Yeah. I like, you know what? I like your chair. I'm going to say that again. It's not a conventional computer chair at all, but it
Oh, yeah?
works. It's
Well,
very fancy.
Well, my wife was trying to get some couches, and we did Facebook Marketplace. We drove out to a farm, and basically these chairs here, there's a two-seater right there. They were just sitting in the carport for huge, like, months, and they were all torn up because when we got them, there was like mouse poop falling up out of them and stuff like that. So I was supposed to repair them, but I didn't have time to do it. In fact, there's a dresser over there I only just recently brought in. So, I mean, it's okay. I just sometimes I sit on it and I'm worried a mouse will pop up and bite me or something. So, it's not as
Is there a
nice
mini
as it looks.
fridge behind you?
That's a deep freezer.
Oh, that's where you keep like the pigs and everything. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, I mean it's mostly
I get
full of feet and like tails and things. We're kind of low on pork, fortunately.
So I'm on your podcast, Mr. Nathaniel. So what is it? Do you want to set like the subject that we talk about or something? Like how do you do it?
Yeah, I mean it's been such a crazy day for me. It's kind of hard. We've always had a good conversation about apologetics, but well, at the beginning of Lent, I was trying to talk to atheists, and I wanted to convert them, and then I found out that I had a lot more to gain from them than that. And then, yeah, if you want to tell the story of how we met, that might be fun, and that'll give us something.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah,
It's
tell
a
us
very
about
fun
that.
story. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I was never mind. I was on Discord, and there's this man named Daniel, a whole nother rabbit hole. Daniel.
Yeah, that's the one.
He's in a cult. He's in a cult.
Well,
he's very strange.
Yeah,
But anyway, I remember I saw you were in VC with him, and I just saw your profile picture, and just your name, Nathaniel. I was looking at you like you're just like an alien on Discord. Like this dude does not know what Discord is at all. So like, I could probably very easily mess with this guy. So I add you, and I call you, and I pretended to be a Christian live streamer, and that my fans wanted to ask. They want to hear from Nathaniel, and I have some questions for you. And what was weird about it is you did not once ask a question about any of it, dude. You did not ask a single question. You were locked in right off the bat. It was hilarious.
Yeah, it was interesting. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You should have seen what was going on in my mind. Yeah.
I wish I could have, because I was like, what is this? Who is this man? What is this man? What is happening right now?
Yeah, because you called me late. Yeah, I mean so one of my academic friends, who is probably the most likely one to listen to this, and really take it seriously. Good man. He thinks the world of me. And right before you called me to ask me if I was going to kill you.
Wait, you're going to kill me?
Did you remember that? Like you were afraid of doing that to me. So like later that day you called me.
Murder me. I didn't know if you were a psychopath or not. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Because you're a strange man, Nathaniel, but you understand that. And but now I understand you. You're a strange man still, but you're not a murderer.
No. I'm probably like one of the people physically capable of it, just because I've killed so many animals. But there's commandments against it that I'm not going to break.
By the way, there's like a background noise. I don't know if it's like the deep freezer or like a fan. It sounds like a fan that's like...
Well, it's probably the computer. How bad is it? Because the problem is
it's all right.
This microphone is actually not doing anything because I'm on Linux, and so it's just the thing here.
Oh, okay.
It's the built-in, and I just haven't gotten around to figuring that out.
No, I can understand. It's not that bad. It's not that
Okay,
bad. I can understand you.
yeah, there's just no time for anything. But yeah, I mean, you called me at like 2 a.m. I was in the middle of
Yeah.
prayer. This was like, I don't know, like 4 days into Lent, and um, yeah, it might not have been that long because it was that Sunday that I started that, and and then I told my friend. Okay, so then I had that conversation with you, and then I was
Mm-hmm.
really intense about it afterwards. I was like,
You're what?
I said I was really intense about it afterwards. I was trying to follow
Oh
up.
yeah, you really believe me, dude. You really. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, buddy. Yeah.
yeah, it was fun. So
Because I said I was a Christian live streamer, and I wanted to make you a permanent speaker on my podcast. I'm sorry. I feel bad. But you
no, it was
did.
a lot of fun. Though.
I had to haze you, Nathaniel. I had to show you the ropes of Discord, dude.
Well, I don't think there's anything that went terribly bad. I mean, I got a friend
Okay,
out of
all right.
you know. I mean, it was a lot of fun. I mean, you lied, but it's fine. I mean, it's like, you know how common this is from a historical perspective, where you have like really zealous young men, usually,
Mm-hmm.
talking about myself, that like really believe in Christ and just want to go out and tell people about it. There's a different dynamic with me because I'm just really angry, but about
You're an angry man, yeah.
yeah, but not for good reason. I mean, oh Lord. Anyway, there's a lot to be said about that. But it's common historically. So you have these young men that go out very, very zealously, who just believe in Christ, and they have the assurance from Him that nothing can hurt them, and then they go out into these barbaric places with these new cultures, and they just get mistreated. You know.
That's hilarious. Am I a barbarian?
Yeah, well,
In that example, I am, right?
I mean, yeah. You have a problem with that? I mean, that's pretty much.
No, you're right. I am a barbarian, though.
Yeah, that's the way I see it. No, it's fine. I mean, you know what? There's a problem. Well, that's what I was trying to say about Catholics is they're far too civilized. In fact, one of the things I got angry about after that, once my family started waking up, and you led me to that other Discord, was how polite those people were. I was like, we don't have time for this. You know, we got things to do. Shut up.
Yeah, they have a no cursing rule, which I don't like because like cursing. And I'm trying now because I respect.
Yeah.
But I don't respect them. It's like it's part of my vocabulary, you know.
Oh yeah.
I'll just mute you.
Well, you don't know this about me, but like 5 years ago when I got into YouTube, which was also kind of reluctant at the time.
Yeah.
But I did okay. I mean, my life turned out pretty well for me. But one of the things I did was I was arguing with 3 other people who we were all doing Bible channels, and my argument was that there was no reason I should not curse. That they could not.
I agree. Yeah.
They couldn't tell me why I can't use profanity. It's just words, and that was the argument I was making. And I honestly still think today, they probably think I'm proud. Working on it, but I still think today that I was right. You know, I mean, profanity is, in America especially, it's kind of a mark of sincerity that people are telling you the truth.
It's the way to express yourself. When you get rid of that, you lose out on it, you know? Like,
sure.
Stupid.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest, so I stopped using it because an exorcist said that certain words invite serious spiritual problems. But the main reason I'd say that I stopped using it was because, now, and it's not like if I curse somebody, if I say, you know, you go to hell or something like that, that's worse. That's not just profanity at that point. And then if I blaspheme, that's even worse. So that's a mortal sin at that point. So it's more complex. You know, there's a lot of people.
Yeah, but like if I tell somebody to go to hell, like even if you did, I feel like you're not literally. It's more of like a metaphor, like get out of here. You know what I mean? It's not really like you're like literally like, hey, go to hell. You know? Maybe it started that way, the curse did, but like now it's kind of changed meaning. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I mean in America, yeah, I believe that. But I mean somebody like me that is very, very serious. You know, if I use that, I unfortunately mean it, since and I don't anymore for that reason. But I understand myself. I know what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So,
I do. Yeah.
anyways, so yeah, so I was the guy who advocated for profanity, and also I still think today I'd rather spend time with people using profanity than people who are insincere, which is most most of the people I get around. Now, I will say this, that I have so the guys who don't use profanity tend to be very straight-laced religious people, right?
Yeah.
And they tend to be pretty good, respectable people in society. Like you could call like pillars of community, hardworking fathers, children. And the thing about it is, they don't use profanity, and they don't have time to really think it through. You know what I mean? So it's not. I don't consider it insincere anymore. I've come to the conclusion that a lot of like hardworking people that have families and stuff, they just don't have any time to like consider ethics and morality, and so they just default to the most acceptable thing to do, rather than like seriously trying to take control of their tongue, to of the way they speak, in order to accomplish certain things.
Well, you're saying that they're kind of cowardly, is what you're saying.
No, I don't think so. No, I think they just don't have time. It's like if I was going to argue with them about it, because I argued with them. I did argue with these types of people, these types of good fathers, before I was married, and they couldn't come up with an argument because they don't have time to do it. They don't have time. They're working 50, 60 hours a week. When they get home, children are screaming at them. When they wake up, children are screaming at them.
They're like you. They're kind of like Nathaniel. Yeah, they have a lot going on.
Yeah, that's what I've become now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because one of the problems I'm dealing with is you have that type of person, and then you have somebody like yourself who is very sincere, and not very attached. And there's this huge divide that can't be overcome, I think, because people don't have time to understand each other. You know what I mean? So like that kind of guy just pushes you out of his life because he can't have somebody cussing around his children, and you don't deal with him.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah, that kind of reminds me of that server. Like they banned me from that room.
Yeah.
So yeah, they do push you out because they just see you as completely evil. If you curse, or
right?
They see you're an atheist. They just see you as
right,
as the opposition, the ops.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, but here me and you, because God granted me the time to consider, and not just like have to make a quick decision, simplify my life, and totally cut out anybody who, I'd be worried about slipping up around children. You know what I mean? Which, I'll tell you this, and you could say things. I'm not just trying to talk. What do you think? What do you think, sir? I talk a lot.
No, go on. I'm sorry. I'm a little busy right now. So you go ahead and finish that thought. I'll be with you in a moment.
Okay. All right. Hopefully you're not doing something you shouldn't.
Whoa, what does that mean? What do you think I'm doing?
I don't know. You played a couple tricks on me.
No, I wouldn't. I'm not doing anything.
What, are you just eating? You're probably just eating.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm eating these cookie bars I got for Easter. Actually, yeah, they're like cookies, but instead of made like cookies, they're made like brownies, which is cool,
Okay. I feel stupid after a while if I'm just talking to myself. That's why I got a robot. I got that robot so I can just talk to him. Well, I just want to hear my.
Well, let me ask you.
What are your opinions?
Well, you believe in demons, Nathaniel, don't you?
Yes. should do.
Why?
Well, I guess you would start with there's a interlocking there's an interlocking like plethora of beliefs that I have that all kind of depend on each other. That's been developed over time because I was atheist when I was 10, and then
Same.
something like that until probably 18, I would say. So I came to believe in, I would say, virtue first, and then I believed in God. Because when I was an atheist, I was convinced through my experiences and through sound reasoning that I should still act good. You know what I mean? That was
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I started trying to figure out how to act good, and which was difficult. Broken family. There was not any great examples, but I looked around for examples, and then I read a book one time by Dale Carnegie that basically said it was talking about prayer, and
Yeah.
he basically said that even if you don't believe in God, the act of prayer has like useful things that it will do to you psychologically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's how I started praying, and then I had and then I came to the conclusion that God must be real because the men that I respected all believed in him, and then they acted good.
But you cut out for a second. I'm sorry. Wait, Nathan, you cut out for a second. Can you go back like 10 seconds?
I said I started to believe in God because the men I saw that acted good, and the women too, I guess, mostly the men, they acted good. They believed in God, and that's what they would talk about, and that's why they acted good, according to them. So then I started acting as if God existed, and then I started seeing results, basically. What? Prayed, prayers were
Well, let me
answered.
ask you, like,
Yeah.
believing in demons, I feel like believing in demons is a way to, like, explain things without actually really explaining them, right? Like, especially in the past. Like, if somebody hallucinated something, right? Instead of thinking, oh, it's your brain, because we don't know what, it's super complicated, right? And the answer to that, like, how did that happen is super in-depth, right? So it's easier to give an answer like, oh, demons, because demons are so far away from us that there's no point to even try to study or figure out what a demon is. You know what I mean?
Well, except the problem is that the people you're talking about did spend a lot of time figuring out how the brain worked. They saw brains on, much more than I'm sure you have, and like the actual brain removed from the skull. They knew a lot more about anatomy. They probably saw a lot more like gruesome death on a regular basis, really in front of them, not just on a DVD screen. And then they also, because of a lot of these philosophers and stuff who could read and write, they were very interested, and they wrote volumes on the way the brain worked, the way the body worked, the way the soul worked. Those are the ones who believed in the soul, which was probably not even most of them. I mean, they believed in something, but the way a person works, you could say. So it doesn't really stand to reason and then those people, by and large, believed in demons.
Yeah, but I feel like, I mean, can it all just be explained physically with our brain? Like, why would you have to throw in the demon? And the demon is something that, like, is so magical and so, like, ridiculous. We don't even attempt to try to explain what's going on to do science on it, right? Like, it feels lazy.
People did try to explain it and do science on it, as you say. Yeah, because
Go on.
well, I mean, all of these societies and stuff that people lived in, they pretty much all had, not all of them. Uh-oh, stupid computer, not going to charge. I see this is the first attempt to ruin what I am doing. Just suddenly stop being on the charging cord. Why is that? That's a shame. I hope this works out.
No, you're coming in good for me.
Well, it says battery low and it's very hot.
Oh.
What is it? Let's try closing this down. 1 second. I'm sorry. Everything I ever do goes this way. Yeah, so they all had societies that worshipped preternatural or supernatural beings. Preternatural is probably the right word. Some of them supernatural. And
Yeah, but how do they do science on them is what I want to hear, you know?
well, they would do rituals and see what happened. It was basically what they would do. And then things would happen. They, like they would invite a demon to eat. That's probably the most common one. And there's a lot of things, they would have kind of, your friends were talking about things like this. They would have strange experiences in the middle of the night, which they would tell each other about, and they would examine it with all the tools.
Well, that's kind of
they'd like
thing
wait and see what happened, like with each other, hide in the room and stuff like that. Something like
well, that's kind of what I'm talking about.
Most of them, a lot of it was witchcraft. So they would want to figure out how to control these things for their own benefit.
Yeah, like the example with like a dream. So like imagine you are a person who wholeheartedly believes in demons. You're trying to summon demons, right? So you go to sleep, your brain starts to shut down, right? So you start dreaming. It's going to be in the back of your head, this whole thing about demons. So when it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Just give me one
almost.
whole second. My son unplugged my computer. That's what happened. I'll be right back. All right. Okay. Is it? Yes. Okay. I just don't.
Are you good now?
Oh man, it's hard being a dad. It's
I'm sure.
I think in a well-ordered society, I would have been a monk.
Yeah, you're doing a monk.
I'm convinced. Yeah, convinced. Or a philosopher if it was a pagan society, and I probably would be married. But, I'm very happy to have a family, but it is very difficult, and I can tell that there are conflicting things that God has intended me to do that are extremely difficult to do at the same time. So what were you saying? So you go to bed and you think about demons, and then
yeah, because like if you're somebody who believes in demons, wholeheartedly, and you're thinking about them all day and thinking like, oh, how could I contact demons, or whatever, then you go to bed and then now you have a demon dream. It's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy because that was planted into your subconscious.
Yeah, that happens.
But then how do you know the difference between a real demon and a fake brain-created subconscious demon?
Well, so the examples I'm talking about, a lot of those people had no expectation of these things happening to them. Like if you ever, for instance, like people who like get abducted by aliens and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's a lot of that's probably demonic, and a lot of those people, from what I mean, I haven't like done a serious investigation. I just hear what other people say. I think a lot of those people don't expect it. Like when I first, prayed, and then I would see things that were unlikely that happened.
Well, like what, for example?
Well, I mean, you're not really supposed to talk about this, but
Oh, it's a podcast. It's annual special. Come on.
right. I'll give you one example. I saw one time the moon uh, moving in a very odd way and changing colors.
Okay.
And I was with my wife. She saw it too. We were having a conversation, and that happening that way had a lot to do with what we were talking about. And it made me realize something that was basically I could not have figured out any other way. And then that knowledge helped me stop something bad from happening. So that's all the details I
Okay.
want to say about that.
Well, that's kind of what I mean, though, with like the self-fulfilling prophecy thing. It's like
Sure, I mean that's not the best example. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean for sure, it's just not the best example. I mean, and that's the thing is it's not really the best. If you want to, I would say this, okay. If you want to use miracles to argue for the existence of God or preternatural beings or anything like that, delving into history is probably the best way to do that, because it's definitely true that nowadays, this day and age, there are less of those sorts of things, and I think there's a very good reason for that. But it was not long ago that miracles were still relatively common. I mean, you had Padre Pio, for instance, with the stigmata. The one I mentioned to you was St. Januarius' blood. That still goes on. The Holy Face, there's lots of healings tied to that. There was a porter, is that what they call him?
But there's a correlation between miracles and technology. And the more we get a better understanding of the world, the less miracles there are, right?
No. Nope. That's not true.
Mm-hmm.
Technology generally hasn't decreased the amount of miracles. What I'm talking about as far as frequency, that's really only been true since probably the 90s. Before the 90s, it was still like Our Lady of Akita. And they verify, I mean, the church has very, very robust ways of testing these things. And they've found a lot of false things that people invented. But like Our Lady of Akita, that was the 80s, I think.
What is Our Lady of Akita? That sounds Asian.
Yeah, it was in Japan.
Yeah.
There was a series of prophecies that a nun received in Akita, Japan, as well. And there were miracles and stuff. Like she was deaf, and then I guess that was healed. I don't know all the details about it, but basically there was a statue of Our Lady, the Mother of God, and she was crying blood, and then I think the statue started speaking. I can't remember, but there were prophecies that came, and they're verified and accepted by the church. As you don't have to believe those things to be a Catholic, but there are false ones that are still very popular, and the church has specifically, either the local bishop or somebody else has specifically, usually the local bishop's the one who verifies things, rejected a lot of those. There was another one where a priest was I think he was biting his lip and then spitting in a statue to make it look like
what? That's weird. That's a weird priest.
Well, I mean, because he wanted, I don't know. I'm not going to say it. I don't know.
He was biting his lip and spitting the blood on a statue?
Yeah, he was fabricating a miraculous thing.
Oh, he was fabricating. Okay.
Yeah. That's what I heard that
yeah.
from a priest who looks into it. I edited a book for a priest shortly before he died who wrote about all the Marian, a lot of the Marian apparitions, the prophetic ones. And he mentioned that to me, that there was that. And he wrote a lot about what they did to verify these things. So, yeah, I mean, the church is full of miracles. Even when there's a there's a
Well,
there's a
Nathaniel, let me ask you,
yeah.
what is a miracle? Like, all right,
I mean,
so in this world, things happen because there's stuff behind them making them happen, right? Like a computer turns on because there's a circuit board and there's
yeah, sure.
circuits with electricity running through them. So how is a miracle just, how do you explain that?
How do I
What's like the
explain it, or
science
how
of
do I
it?
define it?
Well,
What?
I'm asking like, is there science to this? Like Jesus rising from the dead, is there like, did God put down some like tendrils that went into Jesus's body and like rearranged the molecules in his cells to make him alive again? So I'm asking like some sort of like science behind these
Well,
miracles.
for most of these miracles, God suspends the natural order, and that's what defines a miracle. It's something that is outside of nature. It cannot be explained naturally. So, like Jesus turning water into wine, it can't happen like that in those conditions. That's what makes it a miracle. The Shroud of Turin, you can't have an image like that on that shroud. Because of the energy involved and stuff. They measure it. Scientists measure it. A lot of times the church goes to scientists and doctors to test that. They've taken the Blessed Sacrament to a heart doctor without telling him what he is and had him do tests on it. He said this is heart tissue. There's been a lot of things with the Eucharist. It bleeds or basically becomes visibly flesh. There's incorrupt bodies. There's the Our Lady of Guadalupe has got that image, the Tolma, I believe, that's still there. There's Veronica's veil, which is another image of Jesus Christ.
So what is the purpose of these miracles? Is my next question to you.
God did it to spread the religion, to convert people.
Well, if God is able to do miracles so easily, and why isn't he doing something instead of a miracle? I feel like do something that actually makes sense that could prove God. You know what I mean?
He does all the time.
Like what?
I mean, he writes it into creation itself. There's 1,000 ways. I mean, what he said about this, what Jesus Christ said about this, is you have the prophets and you have Moses. If you don't believe them, even if a man rises from the dead, you won't believe him. And that is true. I mean, if you saw a miracle and you're predisposed to not believe in miracles, you're going to come up with an explanation why it doesn't prove God. And he's not a magician. He doesn't do tricks just to convert you. He generally does it for people based off of merit and humility and things like that. Virtue is probably the biggest thing that he has put into the fabric of reality that proves his existence. The fact that
what do you mean by that? What is virtue?
Virtue is a universal law of how a man can be good. It is essentially what goodness is applied to the best thing in creation, which is a person.
So you believe in like objective morals, Mr. Nathaniel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so the virtues prove it. When you see a virtuous man, it proves the existence of God, and on an individual basis, it is a proof. A man is good. He believes in God. He's doing these things. Therefore, God exists. If God didn't exist, why would this happen? You know?
Well, let me ask you a question. Like, you could still believe in God and the Creator, but not believe in Christianity.
Oh,
that
yes,
the Earth is 6,000 years old and deny evolution. Yeah. So like, I feel like it'd be better for some people if they find like a middle ground, because I feel like the Bible really is just a lot of it's just ridiculous, honestly, with the stuff it says.
Well, yeah, I mean that's always been a problem because every period of history is surrounded by pagan literature and media, which, like theater and all these, it's not anything new. It's a little bit more intense than it used to be. But, I mean, there's nothing different. It's like you can read in the Bible how St. Paul goes to Athens and and they have all their way of living. They have idols and things like that, and they basically laugh at them, because they say, well, this is what we've lived with our whole lives. Even in the Holy Land, when Jesus presented himself to his own country, uh, they said, well, we know his father, we know his sisters, we know his brethren, pardon me, we know his cousins, and we know his mother. How could he be God? And so, whatever you're surrounded by will predispose you, and the Bible contradicts most of it. For most people, it's much better. It's much better to just not worry about that right now and just worry about the things that matter, which for the vast majority of people is simply how to live a good life and why to live a good life. Because a lot of people want to kill themselves right now because it's such a dark, evil age. So most people just need to know why to live, and then after that, how to live, and then from there, you can eventually become a young Earth creationist if you need to. It helps.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with someone believing in a creator, but just the young Earth creationism thing, I feel like, I don't know. I can't get into that, Nathaniel. I could never see myself.
You don't have to. You really don't have
but
to.
my question to you is, Nathaniel, do you believe that atheists go to hell?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Really? Okay, all right. I kind of thought you were going the other way with what you were saying before, but so you think, isn't that kind of narcissistic of God to like not really give the best proof of himself and then judge people for thinking on their own and not believing in him? Like, it's kind of silly.
No, I don't think so. I think that I can look at anything around me, and from it find evidence that God exists, and he is the one who designed that. And that's basically what he says in the Bible. He says, you have all of these things around you. And he gives most people a good life, long life. As far as like length, he gives them plenty of time. And so, no, I think we have exactly what we need to prove that God exists. I think you're young, I'm young. I think that if I hadn't accepted God, there's a good chance I would have had another opportunity to. It's risky always, but
Were you talking God in general, or specifically young Earth creationist Christianity, Noah's flood, all that stuff? Like, you have to believe in all of that? Like,
well, no, you don't have to believe in young Earth creation in order to go to heaven. I think that.
okay.
Now it's kind of a nuanced point, because when you die, death is a mystery. Even though they put times of death and stuff like that, I can introduce you to doctors that have to go out and argue about this, because you really don't know when someone has died. And the main reason that they do, just like conception being the point of a person being, you don't really know. It's so hidden that it's not a precise thing. It's a mystery of God. Conception and death are both mysteries of God. Sometimes they say birth and death. But basically the reason why we think we know when someone dies is because, legally speaking, you would not be able to harvest somebody's organs, most of them, unless you did it right away. And that right away time actually is, they're still alive. So, but they use a arbitrary, like, brainwave or something like that to define time of death, so that they can basically get a working heart and then sell it for millions of dollars. And
I don't know if that's arbitrary, because your brain is what is really creating you. So, like, if my body's still alive but I'm brain dead, then I'm dead. You know, my body's like a house plant at that point, basically.
Well, except, well, you should probably talk to the doctors about that. I could introduce you to one if you really want to pursue that. A very good man. You'd have to make sure you treat him well, but maybe you could look at his talks. But basically, he was a pediatrician. He's retired now. Very highly
Is he
educated.
Christian? You probably
Oh, yeah,
is
he's
Christian.
Catholic.
Yeah.
Catholic. Yeah.
And what was his point?
His point was, and you have to be careful because theologically, like I've had a priest kind of nitpick him on this, a good priest, but he basically says that you can have somebody who still has his heart beating, who still has his nerves running, who can feel everything, and just because his brain activity has decreased to a certain level, they cut him open and take his organs out. You can still feel it. And that happens often.
So you're not an organ donor, I take it. Neither am I. I'm not an
Not
organ
anymore.
donor either, actually.
No.
Yeah, I'm not an
That's
organ
like-
donor because I kind of do agree with you. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna, what if I'm on the verge and there's like a little girl in the room over, who needs a kidney?
Well, if you look into the money involved, that's also very interesting. There's a lot of money. I mean, like our hearts, I think millions, maybe $500,000. I don't know, but it's a lot of
No,
money.
organs are worth a lot of money. But how many stories do you hear of people? I've never heard anybody who actually got an organ donor actually getting their organs harvested, unless it's like they keep it a secret or something,
Well, I've read this doctor's literature. His name's Dr. Paul Byrne. You can look into him. And he's talked about real cases and stories. He actually goes out and advocates for people who are in that situation where they're trying to harvest their organs. And I don't think he's always succeeded. So he probably has personal experience with people where that has happened to them and they're dead now.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows because he's working with their family members or something like that. So I think it's pretty regular. And the thing is those organs don't usually. I mean, a lot of times they go to like an old man or something like that, and that person who gets it doesn't work out too well for them.
Yeah.
It doesn't last long, and then they just end up going back into the medical system, and the medical system's so messed up. It's just a way of harvesting people for money as they die. And then
I agree. I mean,
that's what it is.
I'm not a fan of capitalism, Nathaniel. Are you?
Right.
Are you?
Right.
Are you a communist? Yeah, I'm not a fan of capitalism. I think because capitalism is kind of like it's like survival of the fittest, but with like businesses.
Right.
Where the business just wants
evolution. It's based on the evolution.
Yeah, exactly.
That's correct.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah, it's just
that's the point I was making about slavery and racism. Is it comes from Charles Darwin, and this whole idea of scientific efficiency and scientific racism, or like what I forget what they call it, but it's social Darwinism, where the poor should not be helped so that they die off, and the strong people should live. They're not usually strong; they're usually nerds, sterile nerds for the most part. That's disgusting. I mean, it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. And he was arguing specifically. Him and then Adam Smith made the same. That's what Adam Smith was saying.
Well, Adam Smith was he was the Mormon, wasn't he? He was the Mormon guy? Or
no, that's Joseph Smith. No, Adam Smith was an
Smith.
Englishman.
All right.
Adam Smith was an Englishman 200 years before Charles Darwin, and he's the one who's credited as like the philosopher of capitalism. But he was really describing what was happening. That's all he was doing. And if you read what he said about usury, about factories and industrialization, capitalism, he was the one who said like the invisible hand. He basically argued that society is better when it follows greed and self-interest. That's what he argued. And he redefined things. He redefined virtue.
Mm-hmm.
He was the first person that said you should have a middle ground between humility and pride. Before that, everyone thought of humility as thinking lower of yourself than anyone else. But since then, now people think you have to have a certain amount of pride, which is stupid.
Well, I mean, like gay pride or black pride, like those type of things, Like these people.
Well, now
you're not a very political guy, are you?
Well, let's go back because I only have like 10 more minutes. I am. We could talk about what I am politically, but like you asked me if I was a communist.
Yeah,
Um, I'm
I'm a
not an
communist.
atheist, so I'm a Catholic. I'm a practicing devout Catholic, and the church opposes communism. I'm positive of those two things. So my question is, what is communism? That's my question. What is?
Hmm. I mean, are you asking me right now to define it? Like, I think,
Yeah, what do you think it is? 'Cause we might not know what it is. We really might not. You know, I don't hear a word out of your mouth. Are you thinking, or is this whole thing broken? Because that would be typical. Are you talking? Should have started with this. Oh man. Huh. I see like the blue blocks that suggest you're talking. Terrible. Maybe this came on. Maybe but this is on. There's just too many buttons in my life. That's the problem. Well, okay. This is still recording. I've got 3 minutes. So hopefully, sir, I'll send you a message. Hopefully we can continue this conversation. Um, most people think of communism as one of the things Karl Marx says, taking from those who produce the most to give to according to what they produce, to give to those according to what they need. But I think that that's pretty nuanced because you apply that, well, a lot of people have tried to apply that to entire countries and nations, but that actually does apply to a family. The man who produces the most in the family provides for the baby who needs the most, which is not, the church obviously is not against that. So it's complex. I don't think that one principle should be applied across all of society. I think that money is actually a tool for organizing things so that strangers who are not in the same family can relate to each other properly. But capitalism ruins that with the sin of usury, and it wrecks everything. That's what I think, and that's what I have, and hopefully I can get your opinion on it, and we can just talk again. But this is what God did, so God bless all you. Uh, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses. We forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation,